Boy, oh boy, it's great to be back on schedule. I'm Dustin, German agent.
And this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get to the chopper!
Classic line.
No. This is Stealth Bat.
Still a good classic line from one of Arnold's many great movies.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And speaking of movies, by the way, you have something to talk about.
Oh, yes. Now, I'll have a small confession to make, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad, but I remember watching the original 2 films of the Mortal Kombat live-action films.
Warning! Okay, hold on. Okay, hold the phone. We're going into dangerously bad territory, as in terrible film acting, terrible writing. Yes, for those who are idiot queasy, please skip ahead to the next part of the video. You will not like this.
Well, yeah, okay. The first one was decent. I mean, despite the budget it had for the time. But the second one, oh my God, it was terrible.
Yeah. No. We all understand. We don't talk about Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, we don't talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh God, no. The game Deception was great. The game Armageddon was great. The movie the movie Annihilation, we all wish was annihilated.
Well, only good thing I ever heard about that movie is the set was destroyed in a hurricane, so that's good.
Oh my God! Seriously, it was like God says no.
Oh yeah. Well, for the past few years, I've been hearing rumors of a reboot, and I had been kind of negative towards the reboot because, okay, when it's been like a decade or something since I saw this video, I remember, I think it was called Mortal Kombat Reborn. I mean, it was like a 5-10 minute trailer of what they could possibly do with a Mortal Kombat reboot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I personally hated it. I mean, it was nothing like the characters were nothing like, the character designs was nothing like the characters in the game, and it just looked like crap. I mean, yes, I was very critical about that, back when I first saw it, but over time, I thought about it a little bit more and more. Okay, if this, spins off into something actually good, I'm going to say, hey, at least we got something good out of it. But we only got maybe like 2 seasons of Mortal Kombat Legacy, which was a near perfect representation of Mortal Kombat.
I'd say perfect in its effort, but I wouldn't quite say the execution.
Yeah, second season did kind of suck, but yeah, it was decent.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
it was passable.
Yeah, it was passable.
Borderline passable, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then around that time, we were starting hearing more and more rumors of the Mortal Kombat movie reboot. Of course, it's been kind of slow over the last 5 years or so. So I kind of forgot about the reboot. My bad.
Well, let's not forget ourselves. The Mortal Kombat films, like the Mario Brothers live-action film, is very forgettable.
Yeah, it was a bomb to a cult classic.
Oh, you know it.
And that was an actual quote from the Video Game Museum.
Oh my.
And you went there and didn't see that part. I had to point that out in the video.
Right.
But anyways, and I've been hearing, especially in the last year or so, I've been hearing more and more about the reboot. So, and I've been kind of questionable on the story, characters they're going to be possibly bringing in, the actors, everything. But here lately, I mean, well, just today, not Bleeding Coal. What was it? I think it was it's bounding into comics. Yes, they are a comic blog that talks about movies for some odd reason.
Right.
They dropped an article with possible. It will be filming in South Australia. It's going to be in pre-production later this month, and hopefully by the end of the year, it'll be start filming.
Wait a minute, you said South Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, we're gonna have ourselves an Australian Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think that would be a perfect place to shoot, Mortal Kombat. I mean, like one
So
area.
does that mean that Kangaroo Jack is a secret character?
I don't know. But it does. I mean, like that's like the top part of the. I mean, he says could bring up to 70 million Australian dollars into the economy there, and it does release some of the characters that are rumored to be in: Kano, Sonya Blade, Raiden, Melina Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Shang Tsung, Cabal, and a few other characters that I can not even pronounce their names.
Almost every single one of those is a franchise staple that if you don't have it in your film, you are doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put the article in the description and let you all judge for yourself, because I'm like a little concerned about some of the other characters, because I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan, but I think some of these characters that I'm not familiar with are probably from Deadly Alliance, Armageddon, and Deception. I think, because I'm not fully familiar with some of them.
Okay.
So, I mean, from the way that they actually have a picture of what looks like an official release from official statement from Warner Brothers. I mean, new lines involved, so that's good sign to me.
Okay.
So it's like it does have a little weight to it, but I'm not taking this like 100% certified as fact, but it could be in production by the end of the year. So I'm hoping it to be good.
Now, I do got to ask, has this been officially announced, this film?
The reboot has been announced from time to time, because every time we get a director, he will leave for some odd reason, and they'll eventually announce a new director. So
has this been officially unveiled by Warner Brothers proper?
As far as I know, it's official, because they've been talking about it for the last couple years.
So, in other words, the fact of it, the information of Mortal Kombat reboot being made is actually confirmed and is not rumor.
It's, as far as I know, it's been confirmed.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'm not 100%, but I'm feeling like it's about 95% confirmed as of now.
Right.
And that's all I had to say about the Mortal Kombat. I mean, film with the reboot. I do have some concerns, but other than that, I'm happy with what I got today. But other than that, I can't really say much.
Yeah. As long as we don't get Star Trek, the original series level of graphics, I think we're going to be fine.
Well, I haven't seen the movie in like a couple of years now. I'm thinking about rewatching it, and yet, yes, I will admit, if the graphics for the time were kind of bad.
Kinda? No.
Yeah.
This was at the time where you had other films that were doing better than that, but damn it, I can't think of it at the time. Oh, see, that was an era. That was an era in movies that I tried to forget.
Oh yeah,
I really did. there was too few good films and too many bad ones, and I cannot for the life of me, whether on purpose or by accident, remember what the good ones were in that time frame. But I do know that there were some.
I don't. I mean, Jurassic Park was about around that same time.
Okay, yeah, right there. There you go, Jurassic Park. Just to say that alone, Jurassic Park versus Mortal Kombat, it should have been amazing. But no, they had to have lightning literally come out of their hands that looked like it was drawn by a 5-year-old.
Oh yeah. I mean, the graphics were not like, state of the art or game changing.
Yeah, I think the main problem that they had was that it was very low budget, and even though it was advertised as a medium to medium high budget, it was very low budget. And I think that partially had to do with its downfall.
Yeah. Here, let me just check. I swear at times that it was a decent sized budget for the time, but I think I've heard it could for the time. I think it was around 25 million if I remember right, but it wasn't like it wasn't that big of a budget. I mean, they had like a no-name director who, came to direct it, and which he was pretty good for the, for the time, especially for the budget and all. But oh wait a minute, here. Let me see, movie. I want to say it probably cost maybe like 25, I'm guessing, but let me see how much it did. Okay, the budget for the first Mortal Kombat was 18 million, so it wasn't off that much.
Right.
And it grossed over 120 million, so it made its money back.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it might. We'll just have to see what happens with it, and we'll have to. I think it's too early to tell, really, as to what could go wrong with it. They're not giving us enough details.
Yeah, I mean, the who they have for actors for the for the characters, I was concerned, but I'm not going to say it's 100%. They were 100% confirmed. I mean, like, I completely disagreed with the original choice for some of the characters or actors to play some of the characters because one of them was like only going to be like 14 years old, if I remember right. So I mean, like, that's too young to play an iconic part.
I don't know. They might be able to work it out. But anyhow, speaking of box office records, oh my God, that Pikachu movie!
Oh man!
Get this. Already, it is second all time for its domestic opening weekend. Second all time. It earned over $58 million in its opening weekend alone.
Good grief! That's like a blockbuster and a half.
I know. That's just that. Keep in mind, that's just for domestic. That's for United States only. For its No. For its foreign numbers, it has reached $112 million.
That's better than I thought.
Yeah,
it would do.
It's actually it hasn't done a whole lot foreign, but the fact that it's 58 million domestic for opening weekend, that means it's just a couple, and I mean a couple of million away from. It's less than 10 million away from Endgame, and Endgame is currently the #1 in domestic box office for opening weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, this is nothing short of phenomenal.
Well, I mean, when I was watching the trailers, I was like, okay, this movie will lucky to get its money back and maybe an extra 50 million or so. I'm not sure how big the budget was, but yet it looked okay. The Pokemon looked pretty well done. Even though I am not a hardcore Pokemon fan, I think they look amazing.
Right. Now, as for its budget, I'm not exactly sure what its budget was, but if you think about it, 112 million foreign and 58 million, that's well over that's just over 170 million worldwide.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers they probably haven't made profit because all the advertisement cost and other things gotta contribute. So probably when it gets about 250, it should start making some money back for them.
Right.
I'm just guessing because I don't know what it's cost, but it looked like it was at least 150 million.
Right. But I'm looking here on IMDb, International Movie Database.
Oh yeah,
for anyone
that's a
who
good
wants
website
to look this stuff up, it's a really great website.
Yeah, that's a good website at all. I recommend that.
It says here that the estimated budget for this film for Detective Pikachu was $150 million.
Okay.
So worldwide, it's already made its money back and over 70% profit. Excuse me, $20 million profit.
Yeah.
So, so far it is doing really, really well. And I will say this much: if you compare it to the foreign sales with Endgame, yeah, it's not doing nearly as well foreign as it's doing domestic. Domestic, it's doing phenomenally amazing, whereas foreign, it's not doing too hot.
Yeah.
It's doing about above average foreign, but domestic, it might even beat Endgame. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this has only been out for just 4 days. 4 days, and it's already catching up to Endgame.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been hearing some talk about Detective Pikachu. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't speak today for some reason.
Yeah.
But Ryan Reynolds, as an amazing actor he is, he's been calling for an R-rated version of Detective Pikachu.
With the amount of sales they're getting right now, if this continues, they just might get one.
Yeah.
No. I don't think you understand. There is a distinct possibility that they might, as long as they give Pikachu a Deadpool outfit. Give him a Deadpool outfit. It would make perfect sense. Damn it, man. Do it. Just do it. Don't say it. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. Just relax. Let it pass. Yes. Just go ahead. Do the film. It's all right. It's gonna be great. Just do the film. There you go. Yeah. Just do the film. Have fun. Seriously, come on.
Oh yeah. I just wonder, how much improv did Ryan Reynolds do? Because if they had the material for an R-rated, Detective Pikachu, that will be another movie.
He's one of those people that are like the king of improv. Okay, this guy has got ideas out of ideas out of ideas. His ideas. This guy could probably run his mouth for an hour and people would subscribe to it for a day.
Oh yeah. Well, I've always have heard how good of an improv Robin Williams was when he was alive. I've heard they took. It's hard to tell what's improv and what's actual, in the script. But I have heard that they took. I've heard they took like a like almost a whole day's worth of material out of
Which film? Which film are you talking about?
Aladdin.
Yeah, let me help fill you the gaps. Aladdin, they recorded over 3.5 days worth of material and only used a fraction of it because the vast majority of it was him just mouthing off improv and just going. Basically, what they did was they said, "Okay, here's a microphone. You can read off of this, but if not, just have fun."
I mean,
And Robin Williams he's not the king of improv. He's the definition of improv.
Yeah. I mean, like you hear how good he was when he was around. I mean, like it's like it shocks when some like Ryan Reynolds. I mean, like you wonder if that's scripted or improv because. God, I mean, like he's been able to say some crazy stuff that gets
Here's
passed.
the thing. I bet you he's wanting a rated R version so they can use the improv lines in it because I guarantee you they were not rated PG.
Yeah, I mean, like it would be probably like Detective Picachu, uncut, uncensored, and raw.
No. Oh God. I had a funny one here. Damn it! I lost it. Damn it! I hate it when I have my train derailed. But yeah. Yeah, Detective Pikachu bolting through its lines, not giving a storm cloud in the world, or something along those lines, or something like that. I don't know.
It'll probably be something ridiculous that we need to discuss between ourselves.
Let's just say it will be very, very windy.
Oh yeah.
A storm's a brewing. But anyhow, that I think Detective Pikachu is going to do fine. I think that we have not seen the last Pokemon game, Pokemon movie in live action. No, just from these numbers alone and the fact that it's only been out for less than 4 days, I think this is just the beginning.
I think this could be another cinematic universe that Warner Bros. May capitalize on because I mean, like if they could keep the formula for future installments of Pokemon films, then they're going to have success. I mean, they're going to make a lot of great decisions if they have the creators, on board.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be, I mean, for some people, it's going to be a hard thing to do. It's going to be a hard thing to do, especially someone like me. I occasionally watch, Pokemon here and there, but after a while, it just felt the same. I mean, especially when, the Pokemon got weirder and weirder as there's like a new island or another part of the world that they're discovering. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. They're even weirder.
Right.
So I think they could have a possible cinematic universe in their hands if it's done right.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I just saying, with that cuteness little Pikachu, we need Mewtwo to frick it up. Oh my God, we need Mewtwo in this. Damn it! Do you hear us, Nintendo?
Hey, they should do a Jigglypuff movie.
No. The second I hear Jigglypuff, that is going to what you hear when I jump through the screen, choke his little neck, and just, oh my God, I'm going to puff that Jiggly. You know what I mean?
I just love your pain, Stout. It just amazes me.
God dang it, you are one sadist.
I know. But still, I mean, like...
Oh, and disclaimer, we do not approve of Satan or anything like that. We're just using colorful words to describe our very clever metaphors.
Exactly. but still,
and it's not really clever. It's just, yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, we're just a couple of idiots that like to anger each other.
Let's just put it this way: if the words "total chaos" at the top title of this video didn't clue it in for you, I feel bad for you.
Oh yeah. I don't know why I call it total chaos. It was just something that just came up my ass.
Oh, come on, dude. It absolutely works.
I know.
Because this is total chaos. You mix you and me together, and all the world seems to collapse in front of us. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, so speaking of Nintendo, and guess what? Next month, E3!
E3! Yeah!
Oh yeah! E3, baby. Oh yeah. I am so excited for E3. So we're talking about 2 new consoles from Xbox, maybe a couple of announcements from Nintendo. Now Nintendo originally was predicted to announce 2 new systems, but one has been delayed and the other one has been said by Nintendo that they're going to announce outside of E3. So they said no hardware announcements during E3. Boo! But, you know, whatever. It's all good. And believe it or not, if you haven't been following, this will be the first E3 to be without Sony entirely.
Oh, yeah.
Sony has completely dropped out of E3. Beyond belief. Biggest news in the world. I mean, wow. I could possibly have seen Xbox, maybe, but Sony? Really? These are the guys that unleash some of the best games in the world, and yet they're dropping out? All I can say is either A, they don't have enough to announce this year, or B, they are so high on trying to rip off Nintendo's Nintendo Direct that they just said, let's just not give a damn about E3 and just rip off Nintendo like all the other products we do.
I'm in the A camp, so that's just me.
Yeah, I know. But the thing was, they really did rip off Nintendo. They started doing their state of play videos. Oh, my God. And it's literally Nintendo Direct. I just said, wow. Okay, not Nintendo Direct. It was literally Nintendo Direct reskinned for Sony. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I know.
And so, but yeah, aside from the fact that they're ripping off Nintendo again, I'm looking at you. PlayStation Move. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And but anyhow, here's the thing. We have a phenomenal lineup this year, and God, I would just like to talk about this. First of all, I'd like to get your opinion first. What do you see? What do you predict for E3 this year? What do you think that you're going to see?
I'm probably going to see some games that I never heard of blow my mind by the time the trailer ends.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I'm expecting, but some of these trailers are for games that don't have release date. Mm-hmm. They don't give me any information about what the game's about, right. or it's not my cup of tea.
Now, can you be a little bit more specific as to certain titles that you would like to see at E3 this year?
I would like to see something about Halo Infinite, because I'm as much of a Halo fan I am. I think it's, we should at least see something other than a concept trailer, because I want to see like a story trailer at least. Yes.
What I would like to see is gameplay. I would like to see gameplay, or at least something in the engine, because I am hyped as hell for Halo Infinite, just like you. But the one thing that scares me this scares me that they might be an online-only game.
Oh, yeah.
Halo has been one thing, but many things, but an online-only franchise is not one of them.
That is true.
I mean, yes, a lot of its core values tailor towards multiplayer, but you're talking about something that's usually online and local co-op versus something that's tailored entirely online. Keep in mind, there was a franchise that did this exact same formula and tried online and failed. I'm looking at you, Fallout 76.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Bethesda, they advertised the hell out of Fallout 76, saying, yes, we are doing an online-only game, and you will get all this, you will get all that, you will get your dods and deeds, you will anything. But they were basically sweet-talking everybody, saying that anything you wanted, you were going to get. And what did we get? Everything we didn't want.
Oh, yeah.
We got nothing in terms of any interaction, hardly any story. And the worst offender, no NPCs to talk to, because a lot of people complained about how a lot of people made comments about how they loved the NPCs and their stories that they had to tell in the Borderlands games of past. Whereas with this one, there were no NPCs. It was basically just an online multiplayer, battle royale that was not a battle royale, yet sort of was, and no NPCs and hardly any story, and basically just like they gave you a gun and said, go out and farm the world.
Oh, man. I tried some of those battle royale games, and I just suck at them.
Oh, yeah. I don't subscribe to Battle Royale. That's not to say that Battle Royale is a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not my cup of tea. But moving on, because the point I'm trying to say is stuff like that has been done before, where we promised a great game whenever they converted to online only and they completely screwed it up. That's why I'm so worried about Halo Infinite. Is it going to be an online-only game? Because if it is, there are many people who play Halo who don't particularly want to have to subscribe to Halo to Xbox Gold to get their Halo fix. So I'm just saying, putting it out there. I think that would be a bad move on their part.
Yeah, I think so too. But how many online, only games, like Fallout 76, been through the same thing. They promised so much and they failed to deliver. I could probably think, right. I remember, damn it, what was this one? There was this one game. It was back way back during the PlayStation 2 original Xbox. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but apparently they canceled after the first installment. Man, it was like...
well, it's not Duke Nukem, I know that.
Oh, yeah. We waited for 12 years for that game, and look what happened.
No. Well, was it 12 years? I thought it was 20.
Well, maybe it was 20. I don't know. I don't
know. All I know, it was a long-ass time, and it was longer than it needed to, and that's why it got screwed over. So, but yeah. We're not here to talk about. Duke Nukem. What is this game that you're talking about?
Damn it! It was like. I think it was called Advent Rising, if I remember right. I could be wrong, but I think I remembered it because a friend of mine, hey, have you seen Advent Children? I say, is that the sequel to this game? He say, oh no, it's the Final Fantasy movie, Final Fantasy VII movie. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that movie yet. I think it was Advent Rising, if I remember right.
Yeah, Advent Rising says here that it was an action. It was a. It was on Win. Oh well. It was an Xbox and Windows and on live title. Using the Unreal Engine 2, released in 2005.
God, I can't believe I remember that game.
So, action adventure third-person shooter video game developed by Glyph X Games. So,
They probably are out of business.
I don't know, but we're getting off track here. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I would love to know more about Halo Infinite. Now, another game that I would like to see, and this is a game that I would love to know plenty more about. Dang it. Damn train getting off the friggin' tracks again. Oh, man. God, what was it? Upcoming
Fallout?
game.
No,
No. It was, I think it was a Nintendo game. Dang it. I had it. I swear I had it. I swear I had it. What the hell? Oh my God. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh my God. So talk about some of the other games that you want to talk about while I'm searching this up.
Well, I mean, the last couple of years there hasn't been any games that would spike my interest, but other than Halo, because that's usually when they tease a game there, it's usually a few years out. I mean, I want games that are coming out in like the next, 6 to 9 months. I mean, not in the next 5 years, like Cyberpunk Cyberpunk 2077. I mean,
Right.
yeah. I mean, that's Paul. I want to hear more about that. Because
no, I agree.
Yeah, it's been like there was a 5-year gap between the first trailer and last year E3's trailer. So I'm just hyped to see if it's going to be any good, because it has, to me, at least to me, it has that Borderlands feel. I mean, like it's a RPG first-person shooter type game, which I'm kind of into.
Right. Okay, so here's some games that I after looking, there are some games that I would like to hear more about. One of them being Pokemon Sword and Shield. I mean, it's going to be the first official Pokemon game on Switch. So I know that I'm lying there. The first official Pokemon game was Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but this is the first really true original Pokemon game on the Switch. Okay? So anyhow, another one that I would like to see is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, since they announced that last Nintendo Direct. I would love to know more about that. And then on top of that, can we just talk Luigi's Mansion 3? I mean, come on. I am a fan of the GameCube game. I wasn't too much excited for the DS, for the 3DS version, since they kind of took away a lot of the things that I was excited for. But you know what? It was fine. But I didn't buy it, and I'm glad that they're bringing a lot of the aspects that made the game great in the first place back.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's nice to see that they're having faith in games that, have a good following, at least.
Right.
But it just, it just shows that Nintendo doesn't know what's a good game half the time, because if it didn't meet our expectations, or it didn't do too well, we barely made a profit off of it. I mean, yeah, some games that have a cult-like following do expect to have sequels. I mean, for years and years and years, people wanted Beyond Good and Evil 2. And one year at E3, we got it. We got a trailer. We got confirmation that it's being worked on.
Now, one game that I would like to hear more about at E3, but sadly won't because looking at you, Sony, you backed out at E3. Stupid move. But one thing I'd love to hear more about is the new Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, I mean, I barely played the first I barely play any RPGs, but I played some of the original, the original Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, and I got stuck, and I just say, screw this game. I didn't play. I mean, I was going to destroy the controller, but here's a little secret, guys. The console and the controller was not mine. It was my younger brother's. So if I destroyed it, he will be riding my ass like crazy.
Disclaimer, people, if you feel that you hate the game, don't destroy the controller. It what links you to your other favorite games.
Yeah.
If you destroy that controller, you're going to be out another $60 trying to play another game because that's not the only game you'll own.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of hyped for the remake because it's something that fans been wanting since the demo of the PS3 back like what 27 since 2007.
I know they've been dragging this out for so long. It's almost so long that you could almost say that it's like Duke Nukem Forever amounts of long.
Oh God! Comparing Final Fantasy VII Remake to Duke Nukem Forever, only.
Yeah, that's right. I went there. What you gonna do about it?
Nothing.
But seriously though, now there is some other things that are interesting. Like, for instance, this year, like I said, Xbox is going to be announcing 2 new systems. That they're going to be announcing a Xbox, a brand new line of Xbox systems. One is going to be like a streaming-only system, and one that's more powerful than the Xbox One X. That is going to, and I don't know if it's a successor to the Xbox One or if it's just an Xbox One X Pro. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything until Microsoft officially says something. So I mean, like it could be the next Xbox system, or it could just be, an update to an old the current Xbox, as far as we know.
All I know is it's going to be more the non-streaming version and the streaming version are supposed. Well, the non-streaming version is going to be a budget Xbox, and the streaming version is going to be a more powerful Xbox than the Xbox One X. So, yeah, not sure what to make of that. All I know is that that's the facts that we have so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always optimistic about consoles because there's so many. I mean, like, you don't know if they're going to just like have a redesign or is it actually going to be the next generation of the consoles, because the last couple of generations we had refreshes and we don't know.
Right. Now, one game that has been rumored for about a year now is a Star Fox F-Zero style racing game. And yes, yes, I know that it's been, floating around for quite a while, but I'd still like to see another Star Fox game, even if it's a racing game. And if you think about it, both an F-Zero X and F-Zero GX, F-Zero X being on the 64 and GX being on the GameCube, we had Star Fox references to the point on the GameCube itself. We actually got Fox's father as a racer.
That's going to be interesting.
Now, the thing is, though, they could take these references a lot further with the next game being a Star Fox F-Zero Racing. Now, why would I say Star Fox and not F-Zero? Well, if you ever played this game on the DS called Star Fox Command, and if you haven't, I salute you. It's not very good. But that game has more endings than the tentacles on an octopus. Okay, it's just it's crazy. But one of the endings is where the Star Fox team gets disbanded, and Fox and Falco convert their R-Wings into what they call G racers.
I remember hearing about that ending.
Compete in the Galactic G Racing League, and I think that this would be the only reference. This is the only reference that they have canon that could explain maybe the idea of an F-Zero style Star Fox game, but I don't know. All I know is that just the title and the fact that it's been rumored, and if we do get one, I would love it, because here's the thing. we have Red Out, we have a few other games that are like F-Zero wannabes that are on the Switch, PC, other systems. We have yet to get a true F-Zero game in, God, how long has it been? The GameCube?
Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah, I mean, we got a few releases on the Game Boy Advanced, and even that, it was more like a Mario Kart 1 instead of an actual F-Zero. I was like, come on, guys, not difficult. And then Iwata, God rest his soul, made the excuse that, we don't make new games unless we feel that we can take them in a new direction. What can we add to the table that would be worth making another game? Oh, let me see here. Track editor, like what you had with the disk drive, went on the 64, but you canceled that for America. Online multiplayer, let's not forget that. High score boards that you could share with track ghosts, and let's not forget that on top of that, you could have expand even more with the racer creator and emblem and stuff like that. Possible DLC and more references. I mean, what's not to love about that? I think that's enough to warrant another game.
I think you're right about that. I mean, like if they can share the maps with other diehard fans, then yeah, that's probably a good idea.
And let's not forget the one bonus for having it in this current age, which would be meaning it would be on the Switch, and that is, guess what? You can play it as desktop and portable. Is that not an extra feature or what?
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just saying, that would be a great thing, but I don't know. It's most likely that we're not going to hear about that at all. We're just going to hear on what things have already come out. One thing I do not expect to hear is anything about the new Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, I mean, since it's been scrapped and started from scratch, I think we may not hear anything this year. But maybe next year, hopefully. But who knows? I mean, these games take two to 3 years to make nowadays. I mean, sometimes longer, pretends how good the team is and how detailed it is. I think maybe next year we hear something, possibly no later than 2021 on another date.
So. Yeah. The reason I think that you are partially right, is for at least a year, is because it's not the act that it takes 2 to 3 years to get the game to where you can announce stuff. It's the fact that specifically late last year, it was either late last year or early this year, we got an announcement directly from Nintendo stating that the direction of the game was going in. The direction that the game was going in was one that they felt was not going to benefit the franchise itself, and they decided to get the original Metroid Prime people back on board with it, which don't ask me why they didn't already, but anyhow, so basically, long story short, their presentation was just to announce that they were scrapping everything and literally starting from the ground up fresh.
Yeah,
and that was literally under a year, less than 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah, I think it was maybe like earlier this year, but
yeah. And so if you count that, if they're starting fresh and it was less than 6 to 8 months ago, that means we could be looking at least a year and a half, possibly 2, before we hear anything more of this franchise.
Oh yeah, and it also presents how much they salvaged, because if they had the textures, the level designs, I mean, if they had if they only scrapped maybe like the story and a few and some of the character designs, then we'll probably be lucky to hear something maybe next year. But I'm not.
From what I heard, they took everything that the original design team was working on and did not carry any of it over. They started from scratch. Story, design, textures, everything. Okay, so
that definitely probably means we probably won't hear something maybe in the next 2 years or so.
Mm-hmm. As far as I understood it, that's exactly what they said.
Yeah, so I'm not that hyped to hear something about Metroid Prime 4, but I mean, I mean, if they give us updates like every 6 months or so, that's good enough for me.
Right. And just to sidetrack again, I feel awkward about Sony not being there. This is driving me nuts.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's just ridiculous that Sony is dropping out. I mean, I mean, they probably didn't have a big name title that will carry them to the end of this year or next year. Pretends when what their release schedule would be. But I think taking a year off of E3 is a good idea in theory, but would it be a good plan for the long run? Because people next year will have so much hype for them, and if they fail to deliver, I mean, minus the new consoles stuff, they better not make a home run. They better knock it out of the area code or out of the country.
I don't quite remember them saying that they were just taking a year off. I'm not sure I remember them using that excuse.
Well, I think they're just taking this year's E3 off.
Well, if that's the case, then I feel less disappointed. But the way I took it, they were backing out of E3 permanently, to the sense that if they ever come back, it'll only be with their state of play videos, just like the way Nintendo does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned right now, because if it doesn't pay off, then next year they're gonna have to wow me.
Mm-hmm. And you see, that's the thing. Sony usually was one of those people that did big time AAA presentations on stage that half the time you didn't even care what they were advertising. You just wanted to see the show. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's wondering if they're going to have something at Tokyo Game Show. I mean, if they're going to save some of the other stuff for Tokyo Game Show, I think that's probably a smart idea, because usually, I mean, with E3 slowly losing, in my opinion, that big wow factor, because a lot of other events like Tokyo Game Show and Gamescom, they're making even bigger announcements there at time. Right. I mean, I agree.
So I think I think they're just trying something new this year. If they make a big announcement at Tokyo Game Show or Gamescom, it's will probably restore my faith with Sony. But right now, I don't know what to think of Sony because they usually do have a above average presentation. I mean, they do have a lot of good games. Some of them are exclusives, yes, I know, but it's how they deliver the games that probably wows people than any other convention or announcement.
Right. The thing about losing Sony at E3, the thing that's most devastating to me personally is the fact that we lose how should I say, for lack of a better word, the big conflict, the big competition between the two big guys, between the green and the blue, between Xbox and Sony, between Xbox and PlayStation, Microsoft and Sony. Those two have had some of the biggest rivalry in many ways, just like Nintendo did with Sega.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing them battle it out, competing for who can make the best presentation was entertaining to me. And now I don't get that. I won't get that this year. It's criminal. It's highway robbery.
It's Grand Theft Auto.
No. In this case, it's Grand Stage Auto.
Yeah.
No. It's Grand Theft. It's Grand Theft Stage Production.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but seriously though, I feel like that they had a obligation to continue what they were doing at E3, and the fact that they backed out either says one of two things. Either A, they didn't have enough material to actually make a presentation this year, or B, they just didn't give a damn anymore.
They probably don't give a damn.
I mean, and that second one, that they didn't give a damn, really upsets me because I thought that Sony was really one of those people who cared about its player base, but apparently I've been proven wrong in the past 6 months. In the past year, because they were the last to support crossplay. They were the last to support name changing on ID changing on their servers, and a whole bunch of other stuff across the board.
Yeah.
So, Sony's kind of I don't know what it is about Sony, but they've changed. They used to be the big kid on the block. Now they're just some bully in the corner just pitting about nothing.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm just going to say this, and let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
If Sony does not impress me, whether it's at Tokyo Game Show this year or later this year or next year or three, I will consider, I'm not going to, buy their next console because they have to wow me at next year's E3 because I want to be wowed. I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, I've always been wowed at Sony's because they've always had good exclusive games, and they always try to one up Microsoft with the horsepower and the console, but they've been kind of lacking that. But it feels like, at least to me, that they have no confidence in themselves this year. So maybe that's why they decided to just say screw E3 this year.
Now, one thing that we did mention in one of our previous episodes, if Senor Dostin will find that for us, he can link it down below in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the PS5's specs that were leaked, and here's the thing. It's rumored that we're going to get an announcement for PS5 from Sony next year. Not this year, next year. And according to those specs, it's going to be vastly more powerful than anything Xbox is going to put out. Now, that's not to say that the new console this year won't be phenomenal, but I don't think it's going to be quite the level. But, that's just seeing a little too far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it is seeing a little too far ahead. So,
I will say this much, though. If they don't, I understand that it'll be backward compatible with PS4, but I truly feel that it needs to be backward compatible with not just PS4, but 3, 2, and 1 as well, in order to really grasp the audience and the market back.
Yeah.
Without that, I don't think they're going to have a good foundation.
I mean, some games probably had to be just digital backwards compatible. I mean, at least in my opinion, because
yeah.
I mean, if you go to a store, you're spending like, $50-$60 on some of these games, if not more, because I'm trying to find one PS2 game. You know how much it'll cost me complete?
Yeah, and not to mention that right now, the PS3 is being phased out. Yeah, it's still selling last year.
Oh, yeah.
The PS3 is being phased out this year, and with that now would be a perfect time to support that backward compatibility, because now, once the PS3 is gone, you don't get PS1 or PS3 games. So...
yeah, I mean, still, like, if Sony doesn't want me next year, then I'm just gonna buy used consoles from them from now on.
Now, beyond E3, we did touch on this a little bit earlier. What did you think of the Final Fantasy VII State of Play trailer?
I am surprised on how good it looks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, the voice acting kind of surprised a lot of people. I mean, yes, there has been numerous articles about, Barrett's voice actor doesn't sound black enough. Okay, or he's being a black stereotyper. So, I mean, I barely read those junk articles anyways. I just hear other people read them and see their pain.
Now, wasn't this the same voice actor who is actually black?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the point of complaining about him being too black if you hired a black voice actor? I mean, isn't that the point?
I mean, people don't know this. I mean, the voice actor that they're complaining about did Jet Black and Cowboy Bebop.
Okay, he's a great voice actor then.
Yes. I mean, if you are known for one anime and it's Cowboy Bebop, you are an icon.
Right.
I mean, it's like... I mean, and plus there's some other issues which, like, Tiffany's, or what's that one girl's name?
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Lockhart or something like that.
Oh, Tifa Lockhart.
Yeah, Tifa. God, I can barely pronounce some of these lines. Tifa, her breasts are too damn big. They're complaining about that.
Oh no. Now, to be fair, in the actual game, her breasts were double D.
Yeah, at least.
Okay? In Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, you guys, you don't think I'm telling the truth? You go look it up on Google Images. You look that up. I'm not kidding. She really does have double D rack.
Yeah. I mean, like, now they're now complaining about over 20 years later.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about go look at her rendered polygon character. No, look at the cinematics. There is one cinematic where she gets up off the ground. You look at that. She has double D. There is no argument there.
Oh, yeah. I swear she was a waifu and a half to some people. Or waifu.
She's my waifu.
Oh, waifu. I mean, like, why can I bring to pronounce these fancy names and words?
She's my waifu. No. You see, I'm one of those anime fans who I have a harem of waifus, okay?
Yeah. I got so many waifus, I don't know where to start.
Let's not get into that.
No.
Yeah. But anyhow, one thing that I was kind of surprised about, and yes, I know it was touched on with the original Final Fantasy VII leak trailer, but the fact that the one thing I'm surprised with is they continue to stick with the Kingdom Hearts playstyle.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. I mean, like, what type of, place that they're going for. But I mean, it does seem, for the way it looked, it did kind of remind me of the Kingdom Hearts playstyle.
Are you kidding me? It's the exact same mechanic. Have one button for attack, another one for action, and then another one for casting spells and stuff like that. It's the exact same execution.
Yeah, well, I guess I wasn't paying that much of attention. Hey guys, Dustin the German Agent here. I got a little bad news. Apparently, this is kind of weird. Steph and I were talking for about another 50 minutes or so after after the software I was using just somehow cut off, and I didn't realize until this morning that, oh shoot my ass, it cut off when we were talking about Final Fantasy VII remake and such, and we continued a little more and talked a couple of our topics, but they were good topics. But I told Steph about the situation, and he's just as confused as I am. So I'm going to see if I can maybe talk them into maybe rediscussing those two topics another time or something else, because I think they're worth talking about, even though they weren't as popular opinions, but they were definitely hot topics to talk about. So I feel responsible for the situation that we are in right now. So do not blame me. Do not blame Self-Bad. It's my fault. I should have been paying more attention to how long I was recording, and when it cut off onto my notice. So I'm responsible for the situation that we are in. So I'm very disappointed that my software just abruptly quit without me noticing it. I mean, it showed it was recording when we actually ended the recording. And like I said, I thought everything was being properly recorded, but apparently it was not. So I feel responsible for it. So it's my responsibility to make sure that things like this does not happen again. I maybe talked to him about maybe recording in a different way other than on the software. I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to say we're going to have another episode in 2 weeks. So bear with us. Continue to listen to us causing havoc. And just bear with us with our troubles that we're having, even though we don't mean for them to happen. So I do think we did have an interesting conversation the other night or last night, but I do think that we need to talk about maybe finding another way to discuss things. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but I may mention him a couple other ways that we can probably do it, but I think I want to see what he thinks of it first. So we're just going to try and see what's be the best for us, because he is on one part of the county. We live in the same county but different parts, so we may either try to meet up at his place, or something, or just and record, while we're together, or do some live streaming together. I don't know. So I just don't know what we're going to do. So, again, this is my fault. I do apologize for it abruptly ending without me noticing it. It could have been something wrong with my computer. I don't know. But we will definitely try not to let this continue to happen. If so, we're going to try to find ways to make sure that this does not happen again. And I don't want to disappoint anyone. Oh, they're just getting a good part of the conversation, and it just abruptly quit. So, other than that, this is Dustin German Agent signing out. And Steph Bet, I'm sorry for not recording the last two topics, which were pretty good. So it's my fault. So talk to you later.